There's a well in our village. Legend has it that it is haunted. Usually everyone walks around the well. I never imagined that one day a little girl is playing by the well. Strange things started to happen one after another. I heard this story from the old people in the village. Back in the 90s, there is a little daughter-in-law named Susie in a neighboring village. Her family is from out of town. Not long after they got married, they gave birth to a daughter. The man in the family went to work abroad, make a lot of money every year. Susie is alone with her daughter, although hard, but fortunately, I don't have to worry about eating and drinking at home. During the holidays, you can still pull a few feet without making physical and mental clothes. Buy a floral dress for your daughter. So it was kind of fun, unexpected circumstances. When Susie's daughter was 5 years old, fleeting years are bad. There was a disaster, nearly died. It all started with a well near her house. The well is under an old locust tree, long abandoned. There is a boulder on the well, surrounded by weeds. It looks eerie. People walk by the well. It often feels chilly. It gives you the chills, makes the well look even more eerie. And what makes Susie strange is that the people in the village seem to be very taboo about this well. Every summer, villagers like to gather under big trees to enjoy the shade. Chattering, the old locust tree next to the well is lush with leaves. It's cool and breezy below. It is the most suitable to enjoy the cool and escape the summer. But no villager has ever been seen there to enjoy the cool. Sometimes, the village children play near the well. See you. Always have a gloomy face. In a hurry, he called the children aside. Lower the voice, berate. It seems that there is something terrible eating people in that well. Susie also asked her own man, what the hell happened to that well? Why is it blocked by a stone? His man died hesitantly. To live is to refuse to tell Susie. It's just that it's evil. Tell him never to go there alone in the future. So Susie became even more curious about the well, but I'm a little scared. I suspect that there is really something harmful hidden in the well. Susie usually doesn't go near that well when she has nothing to do. Sometimes I have to pass by, and I will bear to avoid it. But there is a small river near the well. The villagers go to that river to wash their clothes. Stand by the river and look back, and you can see the well. Every time I do laundry, Susie always feels the direction of the well behind her. Someone is staring at themselves. Every time I look back, I can't see anything. A foggy day, Susie was washing clothes by the river. That strange feeling came again. He couldn't help but look back at the well. Through the fog, vaguely see a person standing by the well. Very short, seems to be a child, looming in the fog. The face is blurry, and the face cannot be seen clearly. It looks like a little girl. I have two pigtails on my hat. Susie was taken aback. It's foggy. Whose kid is playing here by himself? Or that kid? Why are you here? What about your adults? Susie forcefully held back her fear. Shouted at the child. The child doesn't respond. Still standing quietly by the well, seems to be staring at him. Susie is a little flustered. Heartbeat. Why would a normal baby not talk? Susie thought, are you blind? He swallowed. Get up the courage and walk slowly towards the child. Want to confirm? Wait until you come to the well through the thick fog. The fog in front of me was just blown away by a gust of wind. There is nothing behind the fog. Susie breathed a long sigh of relief. Laugh at yourself for being suspicious. Turned around and wanted to leave. Suddenly I heard a voice. He. It's a child's laughter. The voice is young and innocent. However, this immature laughter in this gloomy place filled with fog. But it seemed terrifying, and this laughter, it seems to have come from a well sealed by boulders. Susie was suddenly scared, and her scalp went numb. Just run away. I didn't even have time to get the clothes by the river. I ran home with lingering fears. After that, he became even more afraid of the well. Even going to the river to do laundry has to be with others. The day my daughter had an accident, Susie went to the river to wash clothes again. She goes with a neighbor's daughter-in-law. The daughter is handed over to the neighbors to help take care of it for a while. There's a little daughter-in-law named Susie in a neighboring village. Her family is from out of town. Not long after they got married, they gave birth to a daughter. But that day, the neighbor's family went out of town to visit relatives. Susie had to take her daughter to do the laundry by herself. But I didn't expect that after the clothes were washed, look back, daughter is gone, a kid who just turned 5. Where can you run to? He was in a hurry to find. When we found the vicinity of the well, and he froze. Suddenly I have an ominous premonition. The stone under pressure on the well. I don't know who lifted it off. The stone is big and heavy. Hundreds of caddies. I'm afraid no one in the village can lift it. Who did it? Too late to think. Susie rushed to the well, looked into the well. Immediately my heart was grabbed. His daughter did fall into the well. But fortunately, one hasn't sunk yet, floating and sinking in the well. He told his daughter not to be afraid. Hold on to the well rope. Then go nearby and call someone yourself. But I didn't expect the villagers who are familiar with each other on weekdays. When he heard that his daughter fell into the well under the locust tree, his face suddenly changed, shirked, and refused to help. Susie was angry and anxious. I don't know what happened to the villagers. When you are in a hurry, fortunately, I met my neighbors and came back from visiting relatives. The host of the neighbor's house is called Pillar. He grew up naked with his man. Call each other brothers. Relationship is good. I heard his daughter fell into a well. Without saying a word, he went down the well and fished out his daughter. After the little girl was rescued, I didn't cry, and he stood there very nicely. Play with the flower hat robe on your head. Susie saw that her daughter was not kind. After pouring the pillar, thank you. I took my daughter home. But what Susie didn't expect was, in a few days, Susie found that something was wrong with her daughter. No longer as smart as before. Instead, it's dad all day. I like to stay motionless by myself. Sometimes I call her, and she doesn't agree. I also like to stare at people with straight eyes, and from time to time he was mumbling things that people didn't understand. Behavior is very abnormal, different from before. Susie thinks her daughter fell into the well and was scared. I called her so a few times. It's useless. Took her to the doctor again. I was prescribed a bunch of drugs. After eating, the condition not only did not improve, it's getting worse. Sometimes I sit up in the middle of the night, staring at Susie with his head tilted. Susie was scared out of her mind several times. The daughter's condition has not improved. Susie frowns every day. It didn't take long for the neighbors to find out. The neighbor's mother-in-law told her privately the well where the child fell into. The child who wrote the letter could not keep it well and actually got a virtual disease. I really can't ask him. Out of the village 30 miles south, to a village called Erdopo, find someone named Li Gu. That Li Gu is for people to see things. As the saying goes, the goddess, it is said that it is very effective for people to see things. Susie has no other good way for a while, so I took my daughter to find Li Gu. It's not big than Gu's house. From the outside, it looks like an ordinary villager's house. There's dried corn hanging outside the door. After entering the door, there is an incense burner in the middle of the yard. There is a thick layer of incense ash inside, and in the main room, there is smoke, smoky, and Li is burning incense to worship God. Li Gu looks like she is in her 50s and 60s. She looks like an ordinary rural woman, nothing out of the ordinary. She saw someone coming to her house. She politely poured a cup of hot water and handed it to Susie. Let her sit down and rest. Take your time. Susie drinks water while telling Li Gu about the child. Li Gu looked at the child, break his eyes again. There's a red line in each eye. The expression on his face gradually became dignified. So you only saw that Li Gu's face was not good. My heart skipped a beat. Asked the child what's wrong. Li Gu said that the child had red eyes, binocular red line. It seems that it was indeed thrown by some dirty things. Suffering from virtual disease. But Li Gu paused. Then he said, It doesn't matter. I see this kind of thing a lot. You just do as I say, the child will be fine. Li Gu told Shuzi, tell her to go home quickly. Find a big rooster that has only been raised for more than 5 years, pierce the cockum with a needle, take out a few drops of chicken blood, dropped on the daughter's shoulders and forehead respectively. Then when you go to bed at night, put the big cock in the house. Like on this person, there are 3 sunfires on the shoulders and forehead respectively. It can drive away yin and cure evil, make some dirty things inaccessible. But if the frail or the lack of young in women and children, the sun is not burning, it is easy to be targeted by some evil, bold and sick, and chickens are the poultry that will chase the sun tomorrow. The most negative blood. Therefore, there is a saying that the rooster crows and breaks the yin. Blood on the cockscomb. It's something pure and sunny, full of young, drop chicken blood on people's shoulders and foreheads. It's like filling an oil lamp with oil can make the sun burn more vigorously. The dirty stuff is in the girl's body. Burned by 3 foreign fires overnight. If you don't die, you will be greatly damaged. The next morning is the chicken so cold. Ding Yi called him how evil he was. I took out the chicken blood, as Li Gu said. But when dripping on my daughter, but something went wrong. That chicken blood drop, with a squeak, it turned into backbone. Like water droplets on a red-hot stove lid, vaporized in an instant. Not even a trace was left. Several consecutive drops. It's all like this. Chicken blood was taken 3 or 4 times. Make the big cock scurry all over the place. No longer the majestic look when I first came. Shuzi doesn't know if this is normal. I lowered my daughter's shoulders and forehead a few more times. I think it's almost there. I coaxed my daughter to sleep, and he himself stayed up almost all night. I just hoped the dawn would come soon. Daughter get well soon. When it was nearly 5 o'clock, I can't help but fall asleep. When you wake up, it's already 3 posts in the sun. He hurriedly looked at his daughter. I want to see how my daughter is doing, but I saw my daughter squatting on the ground. I don't know what I'm doing. He got up and went to his daughter. The sight in front of him made him shudder, almost collapsed, ran away. The daughter is holding the big rooster in her hand, and the big rooster's neck has been twisted. Head dripping, chicken blood keeps dripping, flowing all over the place. The daughter is carrying the chicken like this, looking straight at Shuzi, giggling, smiling so much that Shuzi's scalp went numb. Shuzi is both afraid and anxious. He saw his daughter become like this. Life is in danger. Don't worry about being afraid for a while. He reached out and grabbed the dead chicken from his daughter's hand and threw it away. Tell Li Gai the situation. Li Gu's face suddenly changed. Say this thing on the daughter. I'm not even afraid of chickens. It's not easy. It seems that it is impossible to use ordinary methods. I can only recognize the godfather for my daughter. Li Gu said that the reason why the daughter was entangled in dirty things, except for his own weakness, or is it because there is no ancestral yin protection? Ordinary people from large families or children of aristocratic families. The most important thing during the festival is to worship ancestors. While the children of the more aristocratic family, the more you care about ancestor worship, because they know when the family is in disaster, there will be ancestors in charge, block the disaster for the children and grandchildren. That's why so many prominent people have gone through years, and the average family, but often don't care about it, do not worship immortal ranking. Do not worship ancestors, cut off contact with the immortals, so I can't bear it. Zuan is blessed by the immortals. What disaster did you encounter? Naturally, there are no immortals to help, and this Zuan. It is also the blessing accumulated by my ancestors over the years. Some people's ancestors did good deeds and accumulated virtue. This blessing will benefit future generations. Bless the children and grandchildren with prosperity, no disaster, invulnerable. Let the child recognize a lucky person as a godfather, that is to find a backer for the child. Borrow the blessing of others to let the child turn bad luck into good luck. Let the immortals of other families take good care of their children. But Li Gu frowned. Talking about your daughter's situation again. I'm afraid it's no longer useful to find ordinary people to recognize my godfather. I can only try him. Shuzi hurriedly asked who he was. Li Gu didn't say it clearly. I just gave Shuzi a bowl of white rice and a pair of chopsticks. I asked for the child's birthday again, engraved on a longevity lock. Ask Shuzi to take these things out of the village. Follow a dirt road to the west. Walk more than 20 miles. It was almost dark by now. When you come down, you will see a small remote village enter. The village can't go far. You will see a large, skinned locust tree. Behind the big locust tree is that person's home. You stick chopsticks on the rice, put it at his door with the longevity lock. He knows what it means. If he will accept the rice, then it's done. He will naturally lock this long life lock for you too. The longevity lock should be locked by the godfather himself, can avoid disasters and prolong life. At that time, you will bring the longevity lock to your daughter. The daughter's life is also locked, and with her as the daughter's godfather, your daughter will be safe. Paused, and Li then said that it was just that she recognized her godfather. Can't admit it for nothing. Don't forget to take your daughter to see him. Just burn him a few sticks of incense. Shuzi was a little confused when she heard this. Don't ghosts give incense? Why are the living still burning incense? But he didn't think about it. I took my daughter with something and hit the road. I don't know how long I've been gone, until it gets dark. Shuzi finally sees a desolate village appeared ahead. It should be the village that Li Gun mentioned. After entering the village, Shuzi realized that something was wrong. This village is weird. Feet full of leaves pave the road. On both sides of the road are half-human tall weeds. No one pays attention. It gives a sense of desolation and ruin. Is there no one in this village? Shuzi felt a little strange. Keep going. There are many dead trees that have been skinned around. And dilapidated houses. The houses seemed uninhabited for a long time. But there are candles in every house, but no one can see. The flame of the candle is reflected on the window paper. Flickering, swaying and swaying, shaking. Shuzi felt uneasy in her heart. A huge village, but no sound, no voice, no dogs barking, horrible silence. Strange, this village. What about the people in? Shuzi muttered. Soon, sure enough, I saw a big locust tree. The bark was also stripped off. There are several mud houses behind the locust tree. One of them had a candle. The door is closed. It seems that this should be the family. Shuzi came forward and knocked on the door. Then, according to what Li Gu said, stick chopsticks on the rice, put it at the door with the longevity lock. Not long after, I heard the old man coughing from the room. Shuzi saw two figures printed on the window paper. All hunched over, seems to be an old couple, an old man, an old lady. The old man reached out through the crack of the door. Bring the rice and the longevity lock into the house. He smelled the rice all the time. You look hungry. The old lady doesn't seem very happy anymore. Call him greedy. Tell him not to eat. Return the rice. Save yourself the trouble. The old lady has a strange voice. The tone is lewd, ethereal. It sounds uncomfortable. The old man ignored the old lady's words, still holding the rice and smelling it all the time. Smell, smell, burp. It looks like it's full. Put down the bowl. Throw the longevity lock through the crack of the door. Shuzi picked it up and took a look. See, the longevity lock is locked. He knew it was done. He hung the longevity lock around his daughter's neck. Just as I was about to leave, a sound suddenly came from the house. It's the old man's voice. The old man said that since we became single parents, don't go today. This village is not peaceful. There are many bearded wild dogs at night. You can stay here for the night. In the middle of the night, Shuzi is also afraid of the danger of walking the night road. Although he thinks this old couple is also very strange, even the whole village is weird. But after all, it was Aunt Li who asked for it. If you want the old couple, they are not bad people. It hardened. Push the door and go in. The old couple is gone. After shouting a few times, no one responded. Shuzi estimates the old couple probably went out the back door. I thought they were really weird. Keep your own accommodation, gone alone. But I didn't think much of it. I see a con in the house. I slept on the con with my daughter. He slept in the days at night. I vaguely heard the sound of ping pong pong, like someone is fighting noisy. There seemed to be a lot of people. Been tossing around in the middle of the night. The sound gradually disappeared. Shuzi just thinks it's the wine outside. Didn't care. The next day, Shuzi woke up, feel a little cold. A bit windy, blow her coat. She opened her eyes and saw. I was stunned. Where are you in the house? Instead, he slept in the wilderness. There are no houses around. It looks like a barren grave. And she and her daughter slept next to a barren grave. That barren grave was somehow dug up. The 2 coffins inside were also damaged. Bones are scattered outside. It looks scary. Shuzi was so scared that her scalp went numb. Pull my daughter and run away. Daughter giggles as she runs. Weird look on the face. Like Shuzi couldn't help but shiver. Shuzi discovered the longevity lock worn around my daughter's neck has been broken. More terrified, Shuzi found Li Gu again. I want to tell him what happened. Li Gu is burning incense, kowtowing to the idol. It took a long time to get up. He doesn't look good. Frowning, Suji just wanted to talk. Li Gu waved her hand, said he already knew something. Li Gu said that Lao Yang-to had already stripped him of his blindness, told him everything. Old Yang is the old man Shuzi saw yesterday. Li Gu said he was not human. But Ghost Shuzi has long thought that the old couple was strange, but now listening to Li Gu say it, I still ate it. I was taken aback and asked Li Gu what was going on. Bi Gu told Shuzi she let her daughter recognize that this kiss is a yin kiss. That is, to find a dead man to be the godfather of the daughter. Because of the things in the world, I can't hold down the shoes on my daughter. I have to find a pressure in the underworld. Heidi was afraid to go, so I didn't tell her in advance. But I didn't expect it. But I couldn't suppress it in the end. Even Lao Yang's had stumbled. Speaking of which, there was a trace of fear on Li Gu's face. He said that Lao Yang-to was the patriarch of that ghost village. Whether alive or dead, has great prestige in the village. It can call out to all the ghosts in the village. I didn't expect it to be like this, but I still haven't been able to fight. A grave was dug up. I dumped the corpse Shuzi. I heard it was a ghost village. Only then did I understand why the village was so strange. I broke out in a cold sweat, afraid. Bi Gu told Shuzi that although it was a ghost village, but don't be afraid, because the people in that village are all good people. It's not evil, Bi Gu said. That village, in its early years, it was also a quiet and peaceful small village. The villagers are industrious and kind. People are nice, but then came the great disaster. It was a big famine, sweeping across the country. Neighboring counties were also mud bodhisattvas crossing the river. Self-insurance. The villagers did not flee the famine. Most of that village is old and sick. So I couldn't get through it. After the bark is not, in the end, the whole village starved to death. But they're not willing. I finally beat the devil away, survived the civil war again. I thought I could finally live a good life, but it was on again. Survive the civil war again. I thought I could finally live a good life, but it was on again. This once-in-a-century catastrophe. Death is so wrong. They have a mixture of hate and resentment. The whole village is angry. Maybe it's because the resentment is too great. The dead in the village are not reincarnated. Still living in the village, that village became a ghost village. Although the people in that village are angry, ghosts again, but never hurt anyone. On the contrary, sometimes it helps people. Li Gu said that he was familiar with the old young head in the village. Sometimes I show people things, encounter a problem that cannot be solved. I often trouble him. Old Yang-to also starved to death greedy. So I often serve him a bowl of white rice. Lao Yang was happy. It's hard this time too. I wanted to let Lao Yang-to help the child, but I didn't expect the shoes on the child are so powerful. On the contrary, it hurt Lao Yongtou badly. Lu Gu said that she knew, when even Lao Yongtou couldn't suppress that evil person. He took a deep breath. This kind of thing has never happened before. I don't know the evil in children. What is the origin? So fierce. Shuzi, listen. My heart suddenly became cold. Kneeling and begging Li Gu to save the child. If a child has 3 long and 2 short, he's not going to make it. Li Gu thought about saving for a while. Pull him aside quietly. Tell him, the dirty things on the daughter's body are probably not small. Neither the ground nor the ground can hold him down. It seems that only the sky would do. Shuzi doesn't quite understand. Ask Li Gu what she should do. Li Gu said to find a bodhisattva to crush her. It has been sacrificed for more than 10 years. Only a portrait of a bodhisattva that has been turned only. This statue of the bodhisattva that has been enshrined for more than 10 years is not easy to find. It depends on the creation of the child. After finding the Buddha statue, hang it in the room where the child sleeps. In 2 days, you can remove the dirt from the child. Shocked to death, let the child recover. Shuzi, listen, don't worry, it's not hard to do. Coincidentally, the mother-in-law of his neighbor's house is a Buddhist believer, eating fast and chanting Buddha for many years. There are also portraits of bodhisattvas at home. He told Li Gai about it. Li Gu is also very happy. It seems that this girl is lucky. Life should not die. Without further ado, tell him to hurry home and pick up the Buddha statue. When Shuzi led the child away, Li Gu sent them out. The child suddenly turned around. Lang Lang said a word to Li Gu. He said you were going to die. Li Gu listened. I was stunned. The Buddha bead held in his hand all year round suddenly broke off. Beads are scattered all over the ground. Shuzi looked at the strange daughter, also panicked. After helping Li Gu pick up the Buddha beads, hurry up and take your daughter away, and I went home. He quickly went to his neighbor's mother-in-law to borrow the statue of the Bodhisattva, hanging in the sleeping room. Kneel down to the Buddha, pray to exorcise evil spirits. Bless my daughter to recover quickly. At night, Shuzi and her daughter slept in the same bed. I don't know how many updates at night. He opened his eyes quickly. The scene in front of him made his hair stand on end. The statue of the Buddha hanging on the wall. In the fire, the Bodhisattva sitting on the lotus platform is crying, blood in his eyes. Sad face, it's indescribably weird. And my daughter is standing by the bed, looking at the Bodhisattva burned beyond recognition on the wall. To giggle, what are you whispering in your mouth? Big night, dead of night silence. The daughter's voice is faintly audible. It seems to be reciting a nursery rhyme. Shu number first year. Kyushu disaster bones all over the place. The well is full of wet fields. Only listen to ghosts crying. No fairy face, daughter's young voice. People listen to it, but it has an indescribable meaning. Shuzi was shocked and scared. I don't want the ghosts on my daughter. Even the Bodhisattva is not afraid. Who else can hold it down? She was distraught. Lock my daughter in the house. I went to find Li Gu again. I want to ask Aunt Li if there is any way. Wait until you reach Li Gu's house. The sky is already bright. There are many people standing in front of Li Gu's house, like something happened. Shuzi stepped forward to inquire. The words of an onlooker shocked Shuzi. Li Gu is dead. In the morning, he was found hanging from the beam. And Li Gu died very strangely. There are no tools for stepping feet. It's like being pulled to the beam and hung to death. He knew that it was the evil person taking revenge. Revenge, Li Gu's nosy business. This time, not only the daughter could not be saved. Instead, she hurt Li Gu. He feels guilty, thinking about the safety of my daughter. Confused for a while, stumbled and ran out. Walking back while crying. I didn't see much crying. We're walking. Suddenly someone bumped into him. Look up. It turned out to be an old Taoist priest. He also knows this Taoist priest. He is a Taoist priest in a small temple on a barren mountain nearby. Often go down the mountain to do rituals for people. There have been a few wild affairs in the village in the past. Invited this priest. Shuzi thought, Taoist priests are not just demons and demons. Do you help people resolve disasters? Survival? Shuzi grabbed him, kneeled down, and called out to him a few times. Asked the old Taoist priest to help himself. The old Taoist priest is very easygoing. Pull him up and ask what happened. Shuzi took the evil of her daughter. From beginning to end, when the old Taoist heard, when even the Bodhisattva can suppress the evil, he took a deep breath. Say this is evil and vicious, it's a pretty big deal. He's going to see for himself. Shuzi took the old Taoist priest home, pushed the door open. As soon as the Taoist priest saw Shuzi's daughter, suddenly his face changed. Pull Shuzi aside, he told Shuzi. No wonder even the Bodhisattva can surrender on the daughter. This is no ordinary rarity, but ghosts. As the saying goes, there are thousands of ghosts walking at night. The ghost goes first. This evil can be said to be the ghost king. He was angry very. And this ghost was turned into a grudge after death. Often die more wrongly. There is cause and effect. Even bodhisattvas dare not be easily contaminated. That's why I couldn't hold him down. But this ghost is vicious. It's not impossible to surrender at all. Just find out what his grievances are. Resolved his grievances. Destroyed his obsession. The ghosts will naturally dissipate. The most urgent task is to know the origin of this ghost first. To prescribe the right medicine. About the origin of this ghost, Shuzi doesn't know, but he knew it had to do with the well. So he took the old Taoist priest to the neighbor's mother-in-law's house. Tell me about it. The neighbor's mother-in-law also knows that this is a matter of life. And he sighed, no hiding. Tell the whole story about that well thing. Let's start with the catastrophe in the year of the purple potato. There was a lot of drought. Heaven and earth, canals dry up. Not only did the crops in the fields die of drought, no one even has water to drink. The well under the big locust tree is deep. There is still water at first, but slowly there is less and less water in the well. The water level is getting lower and lower. The water that comes up is all yellow mud soup. Can't drink at all. This well is the last source of water in the village. As soon as Jing cried, the whole village would die of thirst. The villagers were ignorant. I don't know who spread the rumor. Said the well was drying up. It's because of the disaster of King Jinglong. To quell the anger of the well dragon king, you have to sacrifice. You have to throw boys and girls into the well. The villagers didn't believe it at first. Whose baby is distressed? Who is willing to throw it into the well? But then there was less and less water in the well. I can't even type the yellow mud soup. The villagers are wondering, go on like this. Sooner or later it will be a death. Might as well try. So I persuaded a widow in the village. Let him sacrifice his 5 or 6-year-old daughter to King Jinglong. As compensation, the villagers gathered together a scoop of rice to give to the widow. I have 2 children to support, a boy and a girl. At that time, every household ate the last meal, but not the next. The widow man died young. The family is already poor. There is no rice to cook. The family chews the bark and eats the chaff every day. Ate too much. 2 children with yellow faces and thin muscles. The road is unstable, and a scoop of rice can last for more than 10 days. The widow was moved. After all, if you continue to endure, both children will not survive. It's better to take the life of the youngest daughter to save the son. You can also leave a message for your deceased man to lead him to buy a flower head rope. Took him to the well. The widow also suffers. When I came, I cried all the way and broke my heart. The road that stops and stops for a few minutes. It took more than an hour to live. Wait until you come to the well. The widow is dead and alive. Then let my daughter wait by the way. Said to buy him a flower head rope. Run away again and cry. Just came back, while the daughter is not paying attention. Push him into the well. Strange to say, not long after that, water gushed out of the well. The villagers are very happy. I thought the village was safe now, but the good times didn't last long. In a few days, the water in the well has dried up again. At this time, Some people said that it was because there were not enough people to sacrifice. You have to continue to sacrifice. Heard the rumors, although reluctant, but to survive. I had to throw the children down one by one, but it's all girls who are thrown into the well. And not a single boy. Just a few days. I can't find a girl in the village anymore. However, the water in the well never rose again. Only then did the villagers realize that they had been deceived by remorse regret. Fortunately, it didn't take long for it to rain. Alleviated the drought. The villagers were saved. Then the famine passed. The village is gradually returning to normal, but the well became a taboo for the whole village. No one wants to bring it up, and people often see the edge of that well. And there's a girl with 2 pigtails. Eagerly awaited. It seems to be waiting for someone. So many girls died in that well. Now this happened again. Let the people in the village panic. The well was pressed down by the villagers with large stones. The vicinity of the well became a brother in the village. No one dares to set foot easily. The villagers prefer to take a detour. I don't want to cross the well, and he sighed. Said the widow's youngest daughter was pushed into the well by her own mother. I was angry. In addition, so many girls died in the well later. The well is full of resentment, become a place for evil. I just fostered her into a ghost. What a resentment! Once you become evil, eroded by resentment, lost my original mind, become a bloodthirsty idiot, killing evil. But this girl has become evil. I still have obsession in my heart. Remember dying. Retain the trace of the godstone. Otherwise, with the ability of this ghost, how can you live until now? Shuzi is obsessed with the safety of her daughter. He asked the Taoist priest what to do. The old Taoist said, now that we already know the origin of this ghost, that's fine. Just find his mother. Let his mother pick him up with a flower head rope. Nature dissipates. Then the neighbor's mother-in-law said we want to go to the widow for help. It's not easy to do. The catastrophe. Although she exchanged her daughter's life for a scoop of rice. But how many days can you eat it? The catastrophe is not over yet. Her son starved to death. Later, he was picked up and cared for by a relative in a neighboring village. She'd still be alive. The old Taoist thought for a while. I asked the neighbor's mother-in-law for the address of the widow's relative. Rushed over with Shuzi. After finding the widow, Shuzi was really crazy when she saw her. Hair turned gray, a face full of misery. She held a tattered pillow in her arms. It's shaking lightly. Made the action of putting the child to sleep, whispering something in his mouth. His relative said, since the death of his son, he went crazy. Now I hold a pillow all day as a son. Put your son to sleep. Feed your son. I won't even let go of sleep. Said to make his son grow white and fat. I will marry a wife for my son in the future. Give birth to a big fat boy. Shuzi suddenly felt a little sad wet eyes. Not moved by the love of the widow's illegitimate son in front of me, but because he obviously had a daughter dead. After obtaining the consent of the widow's relatives, a few drops of blood were taken from the widow's finger. After going back, I stabbed a paper figure. Dropped blood on the paper man. The Taoist priest said the paper figure was stained with the widow's blood. Let Shuzi buy a lot of colorful flower head ropes. Put it in the hand of the paper man. At noon, the old Taoist priest Zhang Shuzi. Tie my daughter to a big tree with hemp rope. He made a gesture. There are words in your mouth pointing to people. It's like a puppet being manipulated. I actually stood up by myself, slowly walking towards Shiuzi's daughter. Shiuzi's daughter, to the paper man's eyes wide open, staring at the paper man, eyes full of grievances. She opened her little mouth, seems to want to call Mom, but they are evil. She never cried out the word smelling. He struggled to pounce on his master, but I've been bound by a rope, a blurry figure. Leaping from the body of Shiuzi's daughter, the figure was shrouded in a layer of smoke. Hazy, it's not real, but faintly visible, with 2 pigtails. He took the flower head rope from the paper man's hand in one hand. Hold the paper man's hand tightly with one hand. The paper man led him towards the sun. Why do you touch the sun? and there was smoke all over him. He's just for a while, but he didn't let go of the paperman's hand. Let someone lead him through the sun. There is a little daughter-in-law named Susie in a neighboring village. Her family is from out of town. Not long after they got married, they gave birth to a daughter. The smoke enveloped him was gradually punctured by the sunlight. The face gradually became clear. That's a very cute little girl. The young face is filled with a happy smile. Skipping forward, Susie noticed, under that bright smile, there are tears streaming down the corners of the little girl's eyes. Her shoulders shrug. We're walking, under sunlight. His figure gradually faded away, but he never let go of the paperman's hand. Instead, the tighter the grip, until the paperman's hand is grabbed into pieces of paper, until he dissipate with the wind. The Taoist priest said he had been abandoned for so many years. After waiting for so many years, looking forward to it for so many years, can't wait for his mother, let his mother take him back. How could he let go? Can wait until the mother comes. He got what he wanted. No resentment, blinded by sunlight. Naturally, the soul is scattered. The Taoist priest sighed. It seems that I can't bear it. Shake your head and leave. Susie also has 5 mixed flavors in her heart. Although ghosts are evil, but in the end, it's a kid, miss, just waiting for his mother. From that dark well, just take him back. In the end, he ended up with a broken soul. It's also compassionate. He looked at the flower ropes scattered on the ground. Can't help but sigh. He turned around and untied the rope for his daughter. The daughter looks like she just woke up. Call Mom. Susie picked her up and walked home. Hugged very tightly along the way,